and kick off the. Hi, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 12:04 p.m. Welcome. Happy Black History Month. And we're going to go ahead and start with introductions. Let's start off with the City of Beverly Hills.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Wunderlich. I'm Mayor of Beverly Hills, and I'm a voting representative today.
Hi, Gabriella Yap, WC Manager for Beverly Hills.
Good afternoon, Cindy Owens, Policy Management Analyst for Beverly Hills.
Thank you so much. And now let's go to Culver City.
Good afternoon, Alex Fish, council member and voting delegate. And my colleague Joran Erickson will not be able to attend today.
Hi, Shelley Wolfberg, Assistant to the City Manager, City Manager's Office.
Hi, Helen Shin, Assistant to the City Manager on Homelessness.
Hi, this is Lauren Marcelia. I'm the Interim Advanced Planning Manager with the Advanced Planning Division.
Hi, this is Jane Chan. I'm a Management Analyst from City of Culver City.
Wonderful. Let's move to the City of Los Angeles.
Hi, Jay Greenstein with City Councilman Paul Corrett's office.
Eric Bruins with City Councilmember Mike Bonan's office.
Mina Lazarian, Transportation Planning and Policy at LADOT.
Great. Do we have anyone here from the County of Los Angeles? County of Los Angeles. Okay, so let's move on to the City of Santa Monica.
I'm Phil Brock, Santa Monica City Council member and an alternate delegate representative.
Jason Klieger, Mobility Manager. I also heard from Stephanie Venegas, and she said she'll be able to join in about 25 minutes.
Great. Well, I represent the city of West Hollywood, and I'm the chair of the WSCCOG. And so thank you all for making introductions. We're going to let staff introduce themselves now.
I'm Hernan Molina. I'm the Governmental Affairs Liaison and the staff liaison to COG and Mayor Pro Tem Shine.
Hi, everyone. David Fenn, City of West Hollywood, Long Range and Mobility Planning.
Corey Plank, City of West Hollywood, Strategic Initiatives Manager.
Great. So let's go ahead and move right into our agenda for action items next. Action item A is an authorization to conduct teleconferencing meetings under the AB 361. Do we need to have a report on this item from City Attorney? It's the same one we've had every meeting.
Sorry, I was muted. I think just a motion and approval of the authority to operate via teleconference under AB 361, unless anyone has any questions.
Culver City moves.
Thank you.
Santa Monica seconds.
Wonderful. We have a motion by Culver City, second by Santa Monica. Can we get a roll call?
Yes. City of Beverly Hills.
Yes.
City of Culver City.
Yes.
City of West Hollywood.
Yes.
City of Santa Monica.
Yes.
And I believe that's it.
Great.
Motion approved.
Wonderful. Next on our agenda is 3B, which is approval of the December 9th, 2021 draft meeting notes. Are there any changes, first of all, to the meeting notes from Winnie or Cecilia?
We don't have any.
Okay, great. Any changes from any of the city representatives? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Move approval of the minutes.
Motion by Beverly Hills. Thank you. And a second?
I'll second. Santa Monica.
Thank you, Santa Monica. Let's go ahead and get a roll call vote.
Yes. Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Culver City.
Yes.
Santa Monica.
Yes.
and West Hollywood.
Yes,
Perfect, thank you.
thank you. Next on our agenda is the 3C, which is a Metro Technical Advisory Committee Tax Streets and Freeways, discussing the West Side COG primary representative. And the recommended action is to consider nominations and appoint West Side COG primary representative to the Metro Tax Streets and Freeway Committee. Is there a presentation on this, or?
Very briefly, you'll recall we had opened up time for nominations. We received one letter of interest from Andrew Maximus, who's a mobility and traffic engineering manager at the city of Culver City. You'll see his qualifications and his letter in the attachment. This is the only interest we've had expressed in this position.
Thank you. Are there any other interested parties at this time? All right. Any discussion or a motion to approve?
Beating down the doors here. Okay.
I move to
approval.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Beverly Hills, seconded by Culver City. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Beverly Hills,
Yes.
Culver City,
Yes.
Santa Monica,
Yes.
and West Hollywood.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Wonderful. Moving right along, 3D is the Sepulveda Transit Corridor Project public scoping comment period, and the recommended action is to revise the West Side COG statement approved on April 8th, 2021 on the Sepulveda Transit Corridor Project to state that the West Side COG's support for an alignment with a station at UCLA that facilitates a seamless connection to Metro Line D Purple, and 2, authorize the West Side COG staff to submit a comment to Metro during the project's public scoping comment period.
Okay.
So,
yeah, Mayor
report
Pro
on
Tem.
this. Thank you.
Just some brief background. This is probably one of the most important projects coming our way in our COG subregion. It's going to take a significant portion of the funding allocated to our COG. So this has been a critical project that we've been following quite closely. You'll recall from the previous meetings, and it's also in the staff report, that last year our COG took a position to weigh in on some of the options and to urge Metro to select an alignment that with a station at UCLA. Folks felt very strongly about that. We also had interest in ensuring that there would be an underground alignment within the West Side subregion to have that station at UCLA. So since then, we've now moved forward a little bit in the project development. We're in the formal public comment period where the Metro is seeking feedback on 6 alternatives. The deadline to submit comments is February 11th. I know your individual city staff, transportation staff have been following this project. As a result of discussions, we recommend that the COG's position, and that we ask that you allow us to send a comment letter affirming that the West Side City's COG supports the Sepulveda Transportation Corridor Project with an alignment at UCLA that facilitates a seamless connection to the Metro Purple Line, which is now Metro D Line. We want to omit the discussion regarding entirely underground because there are some other alignments that some city staff are interested in, and we want to have a unified position. Hence our recommendation for a slightly revised statement of support for a alignment with the UCLA connection and a seamless connection, UCLA station and a seamless connection to the Purple Line. So that's the background. We seek approval so that we can get this letter out the door.
Thank you, Cecilia. Are there any questions about this? I see that David Fenn, you raise your hand.
Let me interrupt just for a second. I'll be back in about 30 seconds, but I will be back in time to vote.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention that it might be helpful to make one very small grammatical change just to the way the statement is written. There was some confusion from some transit advocates on Twitter that saw this agenda interpreting our statement as it's drafted to mean support for a UCLA station. There's some confusion because there is a station on the Purple Line that's called the UCLA Westwood Station, So putting words like the UCLA, a station on the UCLA campus, and the word and before the part about the purple line might help clarify that those are two separate points and that the COG is not suggesting the UCLA station for Sepulveda should be the existing UCLA Westwood station on the purple line. It's pretty in the weeds, but I think that little change could avoid some confusion in the interpreting of the COG statement here. So just wanted to add that, but before you all vote. Thank you.
So David, can you help me out? It's going to say alignment with a station on the UCLA campus. Is that the suggestion?
So I just put it in the chat, and Winnie
great.
has this language as well, but
Okay.
with the station at the UCLA campus, and that facilitates a seamless
Great.
connection. Just to
All right.
clarify that those are separate points.
We're happy to take that clarification in the staff report.
Agreed.
Are there any other questions about the staff report at all from anyone?
We do have a public comment, but I want to reserve if anyone had any questions or other comments.
Thank you. I was just going to ask if there are any public comments. Instead, it doesn't seem to be any more questions. Let's go ahead and hear from the public commenter, please, Winnie.
Okay. Kay Hartman, do you have a public comment?
I do, yes. My name is Kay Hartman. I am the treasurer of the Palms Neighborhood Council and a member of our transportation committee. And we would we'd like consideration to, there's like 6 options now. We like option 6 generally, except that it doesn't stop at Sepulveda Station, which we think is important because people can catch the number 6 bus from there and go to LAX until there is a rail all the way to LAX. And we also think it's important that the rail cars be interchangeable with other metro lines. So I think it'd be a huge mistake to have a mix and match. And I think what they're planning now is some of the options include mixing and matching and some don't. So I think it'd be great if you guys could weigh in on that. Thank you.
Any more public commenters? Okay. Winnie, I just also received a message from Mayor Himmerlich that she does not have a link to the meeting. So
okay, let me get that to her.
I sent her a link.
Oh, you sent, great.
I sent a link to her and to Stephanie Venegas in our city a few minutes ago, and also had texted Sue a message as well. I'll text her again.
Thank you.
Okay, we're getting that out.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item?
There we go. We now have
Mayor
Himmerlich.
Wonderful. Is she in the meeting?
Yes, she is.
Right.
Yeah, I'm here. Although I don't have an agenda, let me check my mail. I didn't get anything about this meeting.
So I emailed.
I see, Phil. Thank you.
Sue, we're, as you pull up your agenda, we are at 3D, the Sepulveda Transit Corridor Project Public Scoping Comment Period.
Thank you.
And we had the report from staff, and we had one public commenter, and we have not had any discussions. And if you have any questions about it,
I'll catch up. Thanks.
Okay, sure.
Or do my best to catch up anyway. Thank you.
I might also note that we've accepted a recommendation that we slightly alter this phrasing to state maybe we can drop it back into the chat box again, that the West Side Cities COG supports a Sepulveda Transit Corridor project alignment with a station at the UCLA campus, and that facilitates a seamless connection to the Metro D line purple. The purpose of that clarification is to make it absolutely clear we would like to have a station at the campus and maybe not the existing station that's slotted for the Purple Line. And that we want a seamless connection to the Metro D line, Purple Line.
Thanks for that.
So any discussions or a motion to approve the recommendation?
Not hearing any discussion, I'll move the motion.
Okay, any second? Okay, moved by Beverly Hills, seconded by Culver City. Let's get a roll call vote, please.
Yes, Beverly Hills,
Yes.
Culver City,
Yes.
Santa Monica,
Yes.
and West Hollywood.
Yes.
Perfect. The motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now we have action item E, which is the West Side COG Bologna Creek Bike Path Extension Support Letter. I think there is staff would like to update us on this.
Thank
item.
you, Mayor Pro Tem. We are going to pull this item. We had a conversation with Councilmember Fish, and we don't necessarily need a letter from the West Side COG to local government members. We've already added it to our list of projects that we hope to have funded. And we'll be working with the project proponents to support the project in other ways. So with that, we withdraw the item.
Thank you. Now item 3F is the West Side COG letter to Blue Ribbon Committee on Homelessness with the recommended action of supporting the West Side COG's letter of proposed recommendations to the Blue Ribbon Committee on Homelessness. Can we get a report on this, please?
Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Winnie. He'll talk about the committee work on this.
Thank you all. As you may know, the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness was formed late last year, and their goal is to conduct a comprehensive study on LAHSA governance structure and also developing recommendations on how to change and improve its efficiency. Over the past month, we've been working with your staff on the homelessness working group to draft a letter with a series of recommendations to assist the commissioners in the county in staffing this development of this report. And as you can see in our letter, we've identified a few categories, which includes multi-year flexible funding to the city and council of governments, meaningful, consistent engagement and representation of our cities and our COGs, improved data access, transparency, and coordination, as well as clear regional governance and accountability. We also circulated the letter to both Mayor Himmelrich and Councilmember Fish, who serve as our COG rep on the Commission's COG Regional Director briefing meetings, and they support this letter. So we are asking today for the board to authorize the COG, staff to submit this letter to the Commission. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on this? Are there any public comments, Winnie?
I do not see any. Riley?
Okay.
No public comments.
No public.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion of this item? Okay, well, I want to thank everyone involved for putting this together. It's really thorough, detailed, comprehensive, and I was really impressed reading it. So can I then get a motion to move this item?
I move the item.
Thank you.
Sue Himmelrich.
Thank you.
Second.
Sue. Moved by Santa Monica, seconded by Beverly Hills. Can I get a roll call?
I will second it, but I think somebody else.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking down and I thought it was your voice. Was it Culver City?
It was Culver City.
Okay.
I'm not picky though.
Okay. Well, we'll do roll call. Beverly Hills?
Yes.
Culver City?
Yes.
Santa Monica?
Yes.
And West Hollywood?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now we're moving on to item 4, which is the executive director's reports.
So our report is brief. We have some openings coming up as our representatives, folks that have some various terms that are set to expire. First is our COG Regional Director, representative to the League of California Cities for the LA County Division. Our current representative, Mayor Himmelrich, is going to be stepping down at the end of March. We're seeking her replacement. Eligible candidates include elected officials from our member cities or our current board members, so that's in there. Second, I feel like we have a Metro appointment every single meeting, but here we go. The Metro West Side Central City Services Council representative. Our current representative is Francisco Gomez from the city of West Hollywood, and his term is scheduled to expire on June 30th. He has informed us that he's still interested in continuing to serve as our representative, and he's planning to submit a letter of request. Nonetheless, we're soliciting other interest letters, and we're open to that, any other interested candidates. And finally, very importantly, the SCAG Community Economic and Human Development Committee, our representative to that. Our current representative is Mayor Lauren Meister of the city of West Hollywood. Her term is scheduled to expire at the end of April of this year. Again, eligible candidates are elected officials from our member cities or any current board members. So we've put out a call for interest for that, and we will consider these appointments at our April 14th board meeting. I see there's a question from Mr. Molina. I just have one more point, Hernan, and then I'll cede the floor. We also have some other upcoming appointments. The terms for Councilmember Lindsay Horvath from West Hollywood on the SCAG Transportation Policy Committee and Councilmember Julian Gold from the City of Beverly Hills on the SCAG Energy Policy Committee are both scheduled to expire at the end of December of this year. And then we will put out a call of letters of interest in October. So just giving you lead time so you can kind of plan for that. With that, I turn it back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I see Hernan, you have a question, so go ahead.
No, it's just to let you know that I checked with Mayor Meister, and she is interested in pursuing reappointment, so she's going to submit a letter. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that update. And are there any questions about this? Okay, I don't think there's any action we need to take today, right? So
No,
thank
it's
you
just
for the-
information and hope that we get some interest for some of these appointments.
Thank you. So moving on to transportation. Can we get an update on the transportation item?
Yeah, so we talk a lot about the Metro Subregional Equity Program. At our last meeting, we talked about staff trying to work out an allocation sort of formula or priority process. We've been facilitating those ongoing discussions with the Transportation Working Group, looking at a preliminary draft list of projects for the SEP funding. We're doing a pretty good job having those conversations, but we need a little bit more time to work through that. Meanwhile, at a most recent meeting with Stephanie Wiggins, the CEO of Metro, and the COG executive directors, she noted that they are actually about to submit some guidance on how the SEP program is going to work. And this is something we've long requested from them. So that is happening soon, and will no doubt help inform staff working through the allocation sort of criteria and priorities. So just wanted to give that update. Any questions on that, I'm happy to answer, but that's pretty much where we're at.
Any questions? Doesn't look like it.
Okay. The next one is about the Measure M Multi-Year Subregional Program, or our MSP. It's that time for us to update our annual list of projects. It's on agenda packet on page 40. Metro has now released the projected cash flow and an unallocated balance for fiscal years 2024 through 2026, which estimates about $9.7 million for our active transportation and first and last mile connection program. So our consultant, Fair and Peers, is currently working with each of our member jurisdictions to identify any budget shortfalls, propose any modifications to the existing projects on the list, and add new projects that could be funded with this additional money. We're going to report back in the next meeting with a proposed list of amendments before we submit it to the Metro Board to review and adopt it. But just wanted to give you a heads up that there's a little bit more money in the budget. And we also know costs have increased quite a bit across the board. So we'll see how far that additional money flows. Winnie or Riley, anything else you want to add to that?
I don't have anything to add.
Riley, any other nuance you want to add?
Nope.
Okay. So that's it for transportation.
Oh, Mayor Pro Tem, you're on mute.
There we go. We're gonna move to homelessness and housing now. So if we can get a report on Westside COG homelessness strategic action update, plan update, and then the B is SCAG regional early action plan REAP update.
Great. So I'm going to turn this all over to Winnie. Go ahead, Winnie.
Thank you. Just to provide some context to this plan, since we have some new members in our COG board, we embarked on this sub-regional homelessness strategic plan back in 2019. But since then, we had to place it on hold to address the COVID-19 pandemic and spent the whole year convening how to prevent COVID and providing services to those experiencing homelessness and preventing those from losing their housing during the pandemic. Last year in 2021, we decided to revisit this plan and realize that our priorities have shifted since then due to the pandemic. So Pamela isn't here, but she is also new to our staff. The COG staff working with me on homelessness, we were engaging with all of your cities in developing the update for this plan, which is also attached in the staff report. What we do is we will plan to use this as a guiding document for us to conduct a series of activities and convenings with the homelessness working group, because we meet monthly, to achieve our common goals and implement all of the actions outlined in this plan. This plan will be evolving documents for our staff and working group, including the board. We can amend this anytime to reflect priorities that may change over time. And the plan also includes a set of strategic actions in 6 categories and identifies a lead agency as well as supporting agencies. There's also an estimated timeline included for each action so that we can measure the progress over time. And what we plan to do as staff is to report back at the end of the year the activities and actions we've done throughout the year. So we are asking the board to review this comprehensive plan and let us know and determine whether we want to take this back to the board at the next meeting in April to adopt it formally. And we can also do a much thorough presentation on the report, but wanted to give you some time to review it.
Yeah, I want to say it's been a really great collaborative process with your team, with all of your various respective housing staff folks. We think this is a great way if we can get a formal adoption at the next board meeting. This gives us essentially our guidance document. This is sort of our work plan then on how we're going to pursue homelessness as a sub-region. So we wanted to give you plenty of lead time to review, talk it over with your own staff, and then we would love to have consideration on as an action item on the next agenda.
Great. Are there any questions about this?
Looks like you have Mayor Himmelrich.
Oh, yes, Santa Monica.
So I just skimmed this, and I'm sorry I'm behind the 8 ball here, but I saw the emphasis on behavioral health, which I do agree with, but I don't see any mention of increasing our mental health, bad for want of a better description, capacity in the region. And there have been a couple of recent reports that have come out saying that there should be at least 50 beds for 100,000 people. I don't think we're even close. And I think that ought to be a part of the report. Thank you. There's a RAND study that just came out this year that I can send it to you guys when we're off of this. Okay, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you for that comment. Really appreciate it and the reference to the RAND study.
Thank you, and I second that. Is certainly these response units will be crucial, but we do need capacity. So working that hand in hand will be helpful. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so did you go over the second part of this? No. So
Oh, I did not. Sorry.
B. No, it's okay. I know you're doing it one by one. I just wanted to.
We're very pleased to announce that we kicked off our first REAP project with Arab. This is a study to understand and evaluate the development constraints on housing and land use regulations in the West Side. Also wanted to point out that we also had another REAP study that we put out an RFP for that SCAG did back in December 21st. And this project is for soliciting a consultant team to work on the feasibility and development of a West Side sub-regional affordable housing funding program. The deadline for the submittal proposal was January 31st, and they reported back that we only received one proposal. Hearing the feedback we received last time, back in December, we've asked SCAG to extend the RFP deadline for another month or so, just to encourage more proposals for us to consider. And also want to be mindful that we can't extend the deadline for too long, because we want to give these consultants enough time to complete the task as outlined in the RFP. And we have to use the funds by June of 2023. Any questions on that?
Yeah, just one point. And Mayor Himmelrich, we really appreciated your comments at the last meeting, and we've heard them, and we want to send it out there. But I also want to be very realistic with all of you all that basically the housing consultants that are on the bench that SCAG has are all being inundated with a variety of RFPs. So we're just not getting very many bids. So we're hopeful we might get another, but we're not certain that extending it another month or two will get it for us. But we certainly are going to try to beat the bushes and get people to respond.
Thank you. And Santa Monica.
Yeah, so can we, I hear what you're saying about other RFPs. Are there other RFPs out there from other agencies or other COGs that we could partner up with and then make it more feasible to get a response to ours? Who responded to ours?
We're not allowed to disclose that.
Yes, SCAG's running the procurement for us. We pretty much don't have control, though it's our money. So we can ask them to do things, but they don't tell us the inside of it.
And they did, usually they will release this RFP to a bunch of consultants, but they decided to release it to Planet Biz, which goes out to like everyone else. So.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Your point about maybe trying to combine this with other COGs is an excellent idea. I would think we'd have to take a look at it. Part of our challenge is the SCAG procurement process is a bit unwieldy. It can take quite a bit of time. So I'd be worried if we lost, 3 or 4 months trying to bring folks together. There are certainly other COGs that are interested in looking at sub-regional funding strategies. San Gabriel Valley, for one, has been leading the charge on this. So we can talk with our SCAG folks and see if there's a way to combine these. I've seen them do that for other procurements. I just don't want to lose a lot of time because we do have, these are state funds that have to be expended by a certain date.
Thanks.
Culver City.
Thank you. This is a little bit of a tangent from that. It's kind of just a statement. Just watching this REAP process and seeing the constraints and it's sort of like the economy generally. We've got a supply issue, right? That's a lot of money, and I'm becoming more and more concerned that we're not actually going to find ways to spend it. So I just kind of want to, encourage everyone to think about how we can really, creatively. What good can we do with these funds before that time hits? It's like $127 million for the region. So,
Councilmember Fish, if I might, through the chair, you are absolutely right. SCAG has had a challenge getting this money out the door, and the money's so much greater in the round 2. So I think it's a concern that they have as well. And this might be something that we, the COG executive directors can talk about, because there's only so much consulting capacity statewide. And this is, you're probably seeing it on transportation as well. So point well taken, and we'll see if we can come up with some creative ideas to join projects up or find some way to have a bigger pool and get the money out the door.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to item 7, which is legislation from League of California Cities. Let's get an update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you all. Most of my presentation is in the packet. I just wanted to update a few things since that I was able to prepare that. The legislative deadline to introduce new legislation is next Friday, the 18th. And there's actually been relatively few bills introduced this year. So we're expecting a slew of new legislation to be coming in the next 9 days or eight days or so. So sort of stand by for that. Also this week, just yesterday or the day before, the governor signed a new bill for COVID sick leave, providing up to 80 hours of sick leave for employees between now and September, between January 1st and September. Public agencies are not being reimbursed for this, unfortunately. Private employers are. The American Rescue Plan dollars are available to be used for that, but Cal Cities and myself over and over again have reminded the legislature and the governor that some cities have already committed all of their American Rescue Plan dollars and did not get as much as they had hoped from the federal government. So we don't anticipate that anything will change there. The money for that, to pay for that, still has to go through the budget process. So we're going to make sure that we still try to work on the legislature for that. Just talking about the budget, those hearings are already underway. We have supported the $2 billion in affordable housing dollars that the governor has proposed. There's $8 billion for homelessness resources. And then also the governor has proposed a gas tax holiday that might impact fuel revenues for cities of up to $523 million in the next fiscal year. Cal Cities worked with the governor's office to get an agreement that money should be backfilled to prevent critical infrastructure projects from being delayed or interrupted. And the governor agreed to that. We're just going to make sure to hold the legislature's feet to the fire and make sure that language actually does appear in the budget bill as it goes through the process. And then lastly, I just want to still call your attention to the first item on my report, which was the California Business Roundtable's ballot measure initiative. They are definitely out on the street collecting signatures for that. We're hearing about paying $7.50 per signature. And they did just get a $1.6 million contribution. So they have some money. That's not going to be enough money to get them over the line if they're paying $7.50 signature, but they have until the end of April to do that, and they're continuing to raise money. So I just wanted to highlight that for you and recommend that you consider taking that up as an agenda to oppose that ballot measure officially, not only here at the COG at your next meeting, but also in your individual cities. I'm certainly happy to help with that or answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Are there any questions? Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Now we have item 8, announcement statements of economic interest form 700.
Everybody's favorite time of year, time to file your statement of economic interest. We will be reminding you, I know that you all have to do this for your cities, but you have to file a separate form for the West Side Cities COG. So just a reminder, due March 1st, right, Winnie, I believe? Or April 1st, I think it's March 1st.
I didn't receive an actual formal date yet.
Yeah.
Mayor Himmerich has her hand up. You're on mute.
The FPPC just approved a measure that let us do all of our committees and our city council on one form.
Fantastic.
Right.
I think that's right. Look, I'm not the expert on this. I just try to be in compliance, right? But is that right?
Does Lauren Langer know the answer to this?
I know that in years past, you can file for multiple jurisdictions on one form, but the online portal has not been particularly easy to navigate to do that. I know because I've had to file several. But Lauren, any word if they fixed that?
I haven't heard anything about any updates. I file individual Form 700s as well for different roles. So we can check with all the different city clerks for the member agencies and see if we've heard any updates.
I think it's an FPPC rule. I mean, I'll send you whatever. I just saw something about it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought I saw that on the FPPC website. So I'll send you what I find.
Thanks, Mayor Himmelrich. I think we'd all appreciate that. I know you can do it if you do it by hand on the paper, you can easily do one for all of your jurisdictions, but the online portal has been a real pain. It's been really difficult to try to figure that out. So, but thank you if there's an update.
And just a reminder that for different entities, the jurisdictional boundaries might be bigger than just the city where your city council, where you're elected to the city council. So just keep that in mind as you're filling it out for different boards and different seats that you sit on.
Thank you.
It looks like we have a public comment from Metro Patrick Chandler.
Okay.
Just want to let you know, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can we get that public comment? Go ahead, Patrick.
Oh, no, just, I'm the community relations manager for the West Side for Metro, and I will be leaving this position to move over to Metro Public Relations. So still with the same agency, still a manager, but I'll be leaving. I'm not sure who my replacement will be, but it's been a pleasure and a joy and an honor to work with some of the staff in the different cities on this COG. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Patrick, for your service. And I see Josh Kirpies has
Riley, did you wanted to speak on?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly thank Patrick for, these last couple of years. Patrick has been in nearly all of our monthly transportation working group meetings, and he's really been a huge help in, informing all of our city's staff members as well as, the COG staff on what's going on at Metro. So thank you, Patrick, and good luck in your new role.
Yes, thank you so much, Patrick. Well said, Riley.
Okay, so Josh Kirpies, go ahead.
So thank you, Josh Kirpies from Assemblymember Richard Bloom's office. I just wanted to quickly inform you that we're still working on the state's Housing is Key program for renters and tenants looking for assistance. They can apply for its rental assistance at housingiskey.com. We've also, we're advertising now for the $1 billion that was set aside for mortgage relief. And tenant or property owners can apply for that mortgage relief up to $80,000 at camortgagerelief.org. And I'm going to place in the comment section to show the rental assistance that's gone out to each of your cities so far to date, and how many households it's supported. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josh. Are there any other announcements from anyone? All right, I don't see any. So let's move on to our future meeting and agenda items. Our future meeting is Thursday. Yes, right. Go ahead.
This is interesting. We're at that time where hope, spring, we think maybe could we meet in person? As you all have probably been avidly watching, we see that the state is lifting mask mandates. We think we probably have another month or so here in LA County. Assuming things go out, and I'm so afraid to even say that now, but if things continue apace and we are able to continue to see infection rates drop down and crisis sort of diminish, perhaps we can meet in person in our April meeting. And in our cycle, that would be in Culver City. So we will work very closely with Chair Shine on making the call of that, of course, with our colleagues in Culver City to make sure folks feel safe. But we anticipate, again, afraid to almost hope, that we may be in person in April. And if we did, we would anticipate going back to our old tradition of having some time to eat lunch together, socialize a little bit, and then having our meeting start at 12. So we hope, crossing our fingers, that all stays safe and we don't have another Greek letter variant coming our way. And always happy to take any requests for agenda items at this time.
Thank you. Any requests for agenda items? All right. Did you want to elaborate on future agenda items?
That's kind of it. I anticipate that in March, I hope to either be sitting down or be talking with individual board members by Zoom, just to get a sense of your priorities for the year and your interest in, and I have some ideas about how we might engage in the strategic planning process. So please look to your staff, and we'll be receiving requests for those meetings. Happy to meet in person if you feel comfortable, but also happy to do it by Zoom. I know how busy all of you are and respect that. So you will be hearing from me for a whirlwind of meetings in March that I hope will inform an item in the April agenda about how to move forward with the strategic planning process. It's been a while since we've done one, and there's been quite a bit of, the world has really changed since the last time we did it.
It sure has. And really looking forward to that. All right, so we are at item 10. Any more public comments? Winnie, you're on mute. No. Okay. Wonderful. So we're ahead of schedule. I want to also wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day coming up. Enjoy your time with your loved ones, or for your own self-love. And we are at 12:50 and we're ready to adjourn this meeting.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.